You know, okay, so you know, in nature, one of the most important thing is the relationship with golden ratio and gold number. So if you look at the shape of nature, the shape of the plants, the shape of the trees, the shape of your body, everything is related to the golden number. And one of the most beautiful finding of Dan is that he has discovered that there is a scale of golden ratio in nature. And this scale of golden ratio is, you know, in physics, there is a Planck number, Planck length. And what Dan did, he took this number and then he multiplied a lot of times with golden number. And he got a scale. And on this scale, it was completely incredible because at each step of the scale, there was something that was related to what was present in nature, in our environment. Something related to biology, so ATP, ADP, the frequencies of photosynthesis, the frequencies of the planets which are turning around. So, and on this step, there is a lot of things. And so what Dan said, that this scale should be very, very important to work with. And in fact, when we, just a second, I try to find another slide. Okay. So if we take this scale of Dan, so which is in Earth here, but also in cycles per minute on the other part here, you got everything on this scale related to what we are working for. So you got the Schumann resonance of the Earth. And then if you go down to the scale, you will find the frequency of the breathing of a child, the frequency of the breathing of an adult. And also, this is, well, my part, because I'm a craniosacral therapist practitioner. And in sacral cranial therapy, we can find some kind of rhythm with our hand. And so we get the pressure wave, which is inside the body, which is about 6 cycles per minute. And it's also on the scale. And then you have also the frequency of the emptiness of the brain ventricles. And so this is what we are working with in the different biofeedback, but I will explain a little bit later. And what is very interesting, we've done scale frequencies. If you know, there are different searchers who have made some research on the frequency which are inside the body. And all these searchers find that the lower frequency are in the lower part of the body, and the higher frequency inside the body are in the upper part of the body. And in fact, this is quite easy to understand because the big muscles are in the lower part of the body, and the big bones also. And when you go up, it's smaller bones, and the skull is very, very thin bone. And if you make a relationship, if you want to create a bell with lower frequency, it would be a very big and a very heavy bell. And if you want to create a very high frequency bell, it's a very small and very tiny bell. So and these different searchers have found, well, you know, that with different kind of experiment or different kind of people which are confident in their feeling. And one of the best guy who made a beautiful map of the body is Stéphane Cardinaux. It's a school of a kneeling center, but feeling center. And with all of his students, he spent, I think, more than 1 year. They're coming together once a week, and they were sending frequency to the body, and he was asking, where do you feel it? And so he made a map of all the frequency inside the body. And what is very interesting, then if we take this map, there is a beautiful relationship with the cascade of Dan frequency. You see the 130 hertz of Dan frequency, which is one on the step of the scale, is the ladder of the ladder. Yes, it's the second chakra. It's the hara. And then you go up, you get the heart, and then you go up with Dan frequency, which are in yellow here. And so there is a beautiful correlation between the frequency of the chakra and the frequency of Dan scale and Dan ladder. And so what Dan, so there are two parts, in fact. The one part which is sending frequency to the body for healing session. And the main goal of this part is that to interact with the body, we are using a cascade of frequency based off Dan equation, and so golden number, golden ratio. And this is what Dan is doing with the therapy session. So he's sending the frequency through an electromagnetic wave, so it's plasma balls, and he's sending this cascade of frequency, which is making a very strong reset inside the body. And when people are lying on the table and between these two plasma balls, what's happening inside the body, that's what we feel with sacrocranial practitioner. There is a very big still point of all the frequency inside the body. So normally when a body is healthy, there you can feel waves of frequency which are moving inside the body. And when the person are on the table between these two plasma balls, there is a strong still point of all the frequency inside the body. So it's an healing session. So this is one part of the research. So sending information, well, but a beautiful cascade and the nature cascade of frequency to the body for an healing session. So this is one part. The other part related to Dan work is to try to measure what's happening inside the body. And we have the opportunity now to have beautiful new sensor, very cheap sensor compared to previous years. Now we can, that's what I'm doing. I'm creating apps on iPhone and iPads. These apps are connected to sensor, so brainwave sensor or art component sensor. And what we are looking in the data acquisition we are using is that we are looking again for golden ratio, because Dan has discovered that when you are in a bliss state or well quite healthy, very, very healthy and bliss state or very relaxed, and you can find this cascade of golden ratio inside the body. And that's what we are looking in the brainwave. So we are looking for, we are getting the data from the brainwave during a meditating state. And then we are extracting the spectrum of the brainwave, and we are looking in all the frequency which are present, all the peak frequency which are present. What we are looking is the relationship between this peak. And we have noticed that the more you're relaxed and the more you're in the bliss state, the more you will get golden ratio between these different frequencies. And that's also what we are doing with the heart rate, with the heart data, trying also to, well, it's a little bit different from for the heart, because there are two different things which are happening inside the body. The first one related to the heart, it's an electric component, which is we can be measured with an EKG, or also with an heart rate measurement. So you're measuring the variation of the heart rate. And also there is, and this is my part related to sacrocranial waves. In fact, the sacrocranial waves, we have discovered that this sacrocranial wave is related to a variation of pressure inside the body. And so when you're learning to become a sacrocranial practitioner, you're learning to feel very, very small things, very small sensitive things with your hand. And you can learn to feel this very small variation of pressure inside the body. And this variation of pressure inside the body is moving at a rhythm of about 6 times per minute when we are healthy. And this 6 times per minute is the famous 0.1 Hertz frequency, which is also used through all the apps of coherence of the heart. And it's well, it's quite normal, because if you want to be in connection with your body, the best way to do it is to breathe at this 0.1 Hertz frequency, which is 6 times per minute, and then you are going step by step to the coherence of your heart. And so there are two main points related to the heart. So the one is the electrical part, and the other one is a liquid part, a pressure part. And what I have noticed is that I have made a few recordings of healing session of sacrocranial therapy, and I have asked my patient if it was possible to make a recording of what's happening inside their body. And I have noticed that when the patients are quite relaxed, there is a completely different answer when we compare the wave coming from the electric part of the heart and the wave which is coming from the pressure wave. When people are quite healthy and relaxed, there is a synchronization between the pressure wave and the electric wave. And when people are not healthy or very stressed, there is a shift between these two frequencies. And so that's all the thing we are trying to get with all these apps and all these sensors related to the work of Dan. And what I'm working on now is, but it's not yet available, it's a long job to do, is try to get together the coherence of the brain and the coherence of the heart, to see if normally when you're at bliss stage, you should have the same kind of response from the heart or from the brain. That's what I'm working on now. So if you have, and what we are doing also is, well, there are two kinds, there are three kinds of plasma device which can send this cascade of frequency to the body. So the biggest one, a very strong one, is the therapy. And then there is another device that Paul has built, which can send specific frequency, but inside the cascade, or it can send also through the plasma ball, the monk, which are singing beautiful music sound and things like that through the plasma ball. Or there is also a smaller device that I have built, which is much more cheaper, in which you can also send a specific frequency which are inside the body for healing sessions. Okay, if you have any question.
Yeah, thank you, Patrick. If I can ask, does the concept Dan uses of implosion and centripetal movement relate to some of the things that you have said? Can you clarify that for us?
Yeah, well, in fact, when you have, to explain, you have probably heard about people talking about scalar waves, and well, in fact, as far as I understand, when you are building this cascade of golden ratio, it seems that that's what Dan is explaining. It seems that it's creating some kind of scalar wave. And in fact, these scalar wave have the possibility of, it's completely different from radio wave, from all the other waves, because there is one thing that is very important with this kind of scalar wave is that it can interact with nature and go very far away. Can be people can feel it very far away, and also you know, when you want to get rid of radio waves, you create a Faraday cage, which is a grid of metal device. And if you go inside this cage, normally all the waves are not going in. It's not possible for the wave to go in. It's what they call a Faraday cage. But for scalar wave, they go through the Faraday cage. And probably that's what, you know, when you are a sacrocranial practitioner, you can feel the body, what's happening inside the body with your hand on the body. But you can also feel with your hand a little bit away from the body. And if you believe in what you are doing and you accept it, you can also feel it very, very, very far away from the person. And you get the answer of what's happening, are the different organs inside the body. And this communication, which is the same thing as telepathy, it's always scalar wave. And probably that's what's happening when I'm working with kids who can see without their eyes. And probably, and that's what we're working on and we're looking for, try to understand what's happening, but probably it's also related to scalar wave. So there is always a relationship between a few frequencies which are merged inside the body, And when the ratio between these frequency is, well, let's say it's a golden ratio, you get access to specific states.
So you mentioned about telepathy. So this is this relates to scalar waves in the sense that the mind or the mental waves of the mind, or would it be the brain, are in a certain way that give rise to that faculty of telepathy. So what are the waves we're talking about in that example of telepathy?
Well, if I may just say, Patrick, this is Dan. Hi.
Hi, Dan.
Hi, Dan.
Valerie kindly suggested, and Patrick, I want to say thank you for your patience and communication. It's fabulous. Gratitude. Just a quick comment, which is actually, I think scalar is a bit of a misnomer. The more correct electrical term is longitudinal electromagnetic, which is the aligned compressional point of the wave motion that travels in compression parallel to the direction of propagation, as opposed to the transverse up and down component, which doesn't go as far as Patrick correctly said. The physics of the longitudinal, or sometimes called scalar or torsional, is that it travels to a distance because it travels in an array, which is fractal and golden ratio and dodeca and all that stuff. And that's the first part of my lecture for the group on Saturday, so that's perfect. And the other thing, just to say, the reason golden ratio tuned to Planck creates the scalar longitudinal is because that sets up the perfect vortex, which aligns and allows the up and down transverse inertia, which is not aligned to compress directly towards center, gradually down the vortex directly into perfect compression at the Planck threshold into the compressional scalar longitudinal. And finally, with respect to your question there about the brain, yes, when we have that golden ratio in brainwaves and optimally tuned to Planck, which the alpha is, which is called flameinmind.com, that's precisely what enables the brain to make the longitudinal compressional wave. And Patrick is right. We do believe that the plasma vortex inside the head is exactly what those kids say forms when they see, I see a vortex in my head and I'm looking through it, and that's how I see without my eyes. So it's a very useful conversation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dan.
Okay, so Patrick, did you want to go on with that?
Well, I think it's almost well. This is what Dan probably Dan will explain. This is how this is about the longitudinal wave, which is created here. So you see that there is in this part there is a cascade of golden ratio, which is. Did you see still? Okay. So you see that this is the longitudinal wave that Dan is talking about here. You still see my screen?
Yes.
Or not? Yes. Okay. So it's completely different of all the waves that we are talking about, because when this is the famous longitudinal wave, which is, and this longitudinal wave can, as Dan said, can go through the grid of the Earth. So and well, it's but Dan should explain it.
So the right hand side is the longitudinal wave, the left is transverse. Yeah.
It's like a tsunami. You see, when a tsunami is coming from the ocean to the earth, it's this kind of wave which is going
on the right side.
The right side, yes.
Okay, so this idea of coherence, is it some way of transitioning our mental frequencies or physical frequencies to this longitudinal wave? Is it that we're trying to transition to a longitudinal flow rather than a transverse one? Can you address that, clarify it?
Yeah, I think so, yes. But probably Dan could explain it better.
Okay, so that implosion happens.
No.
So is it this implosion that the word Dan uses often, that is when we get to this longitudinal flow somehow?
Well, you know, we are working in a world talking about explosion. So the engine is working with explosion. Everything in the world we are living is talking about explosion. But Dan is going to the opposite way. It's implosion, and implosion. So to make implosion is like this shape here. So you are going with a cascade of golden ratio. It's some kind of compression. But well, Dan could explain it much better than me this part.
Oui, Dan n'est pas là, mais ce que je peux comprendre, c'est what I understand is this like this vortex, like an array of compression. So all those waves comes, add and multiply their velocity, and it transforms into acceleration. So in fact, at the tip of this vortex, could you understand like that?
Yes.
It's like a pressure wave that goes through anything. It's a pressure that is so strong, the tsunami just go. How would you compare a tsunami to a transverse wave, Patrick? What's the effect?
It's not easy for me to explain.
No, it's not easy to explain.
But well, if you want a comparison, you can think about Schoberger. Schoberger changed the properties of water just by making water. That's also something Dan is working on. So you're creating a spiral which is based of golden number. So the shape of the spiral is created with golden number, with golden ratio, and when you send some water through this spiral, so from the larger part to the smaller part, you are creating an implosion. So you're increasing the energy, you're changing the properties, and
a characteristic that is very important in this with Scharberger's experience and observation of nature and whirlpool, tourbillon, and so on, is that because of this array of fractality that's centering those wave interactions, there is no friction. And what happens is at the end, the water gets cooler because of no friction. This is what the golden mean ratio does. The interaction of waves are not annihilating, there is no friction among them, but rather addition and multiplication of their velocity to acceleration. So this is a very essential, to understand what is longitudinal waves.
Great. You mentioned fractal. Patrick, could you have a go at explaining to us this idea of fractal, which is another common concept in Dan's vocabulary? Fractality, fractals.
Well, fractals mean that if you make a zoom of what you can see in nature, you will see the same shape on every step of the zoom. So there is a repetition of everything. So you will have the same thing in very small things, and it's related to Mandelbrot findings, and in fact he has noticed that in nature when you make a picture of the shape of the frontier of a country, for example, if you zoom in it, you will have always the same thing. It will always be the same shape, and this shape is related to golden number, which is in nature. For example, maybe an example here. If you take a picture from a satellite picture from the sea, which is between Italy and Spain, so the Mediterranean Sea, you will see that there is, if Spain is here, Italy is here, and so you have some kind of well, a shape of the frontier of the different part between the land and the water. And in fact, as everything is related to golden ratio, there are two currents in the sea which are turning like this between Italy, which is here, and Spain, which is there. And these two currents, so there are two spirals of currents which are turning like this. And in fact, in the middle, when these two currents are coming close to each other in the middle, this is the place when the energy is the highest. And this is where there is a lot of fishes, because there are a lot of food for the fishes. And this is where the fisher boats are going. And so everything is related to the shape of nature. And the shape of nature, you can see it in different kind of level. If you make a zoom in or zoom out, you will always have the same thing.
Okay, so partly
that's what we have also inside our body.
Okay, so in a way, it's like discovering the secret mechanisms and geometries within our physical body and within the physical external world, right. And the sort of secrets that are disclosed by understanding how these interactions of waves play out.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Well, so there are different things to make in a relationship and that's the reason why it's not all the time very easy to explain or to understand. It's like you know the body. We can say also the body is an hologram. So in each of your cell you have everything of the body. You can, and this is also related to fractality, because when you take a part of the body, you know, what I'm doing also is making some picture with a Korokov device, which is called the GDV device. It was built in Russia by Korokov, and it just takes you a picture.
Just pictures about it?
GDV.
Okay.
It was built by a Russian, which is Korokov.
Konstantin Korokov.
Konstantin Korokov, and in fact, what you can see, you just put your finger one after one. So you as you have 10 fingers, you are taking 20 pictures, one of each of your finger, with a filter and without a filter.
It's a correlation between the acupuncture and what was it, Kirlian pictures.
Yes, it's like Kirlian pictures. Yes.
So the tip of your fingers, with the tip of your fingers, you can reconstitute the whole aura of your body, because each tip of the finger are related to the different chakras or of the body.
And so what you get is two kind of, pictures of well, let's say the aura of the body. And on the top here, it is the same person here. So on the top, there is the first set of pictures with a filter, which is removing the emotional part. So this is related to the physical part of the body. On the lower three pictures here, you have the emotional part, which is coming. And this is a picture of a student which is passing exams. And you see his physical part is quite okay, but in his emotional part, there are a lot of frequency which are missing.
Amazing.
And you get the same thing because when I'm making a test, I'm using this kind of device. I'm making also a voice analysis, an hearing test, and well, I'm making different tests. And this is the voice analysis here on the right, which from lower frequency to higher frequency. And you see here, this is a person which is quite okay, which is not stressed, and all the frequency are present. You see, there is a good shape of all the frequency. There is no missing, real missing frequency. And on the lower part here, this is the student which is passing his exams. And you see there is a lot of frequency which are missing. And you can understand it because when you're very stressed, your voice is changing. There is some kind of note in the part of your body you are breathing with, and so there is a lot of frequency which are missing. This is what all the thing that we are doing, try to make the relationship between the different things.
And you can take all this data just from the voice analysis.
I'm making a relationship with Kirlian, voice analyzing, hearing test also, because you cannot, when you're stressed, your hearing test is different also, because there is a relationship between your voice and your ears.
And you were able to analyze at one level the physical aura, as it were.
Yes.
And using that same voice analysis method also identified the emotional condition.
Yes. Well, in fact, we are making a new kind of voice analysis. So we are first asking the person, telling a little bit about herself, and say, well, this is my name, I live there, I love to make sport, and things like that. And then we make the voice analysis. We get a spectrum, and then the second voice analysis we are asking is to sing vowels, and we have two completely different shape of spectrum, because one is that what the person accept to show, and the other one what is really inside. And so we have also in the voice analysis a good answer to emotional response, also how the person is showing and about herself. Yes.
Okay. Now in this bottom diagram, this isn't actually measuring the aura as such, is it?
Yes. Well, we can say this. Yes. Well, but it's not really the aura. It's it's a picture of what's happening in the body, where if some part of the body are fixed, so there is no emission of light, and if this part of the body is fixed, it means that there is some problem there.
I see. So someone who saw aura, would they be seeing this type of diagram?
Well, this is a way to show it, but it's not exactly the same. The first Kirlian pictures devices, I think, were more, well, it was different because this was a real picture of the aura. Here, it's a recombination between inside a computer, between what's happening in each of the finger. Well, it's easier to do because on the beginning Kirlian pictures, you have to work in a very specific room, dark room, and things like that. Here, it's very easy to do with this kind of device.
Okay, are you familiar with when Dan talks about astral hygiene and holes that come in the aura related, for example, with drug abuse? Have you come across that at all?
You know, we have our own specific part, and I cannot follow down on everything, you know.
Yeah.
This was also shown by Karatkov in the GDV pictures. You could see people with using too much drugs or alcohol, and you could see holes in the aura. So maybe you have those pictures, Patrick, no? Don't you think?
But what I was showing here is that you know, there are two pictures here, two kind of pictures before and after a healing session with plasma device. So you see there is a missing part here on the liver and a spike on the kidney, and after 15 minutes of scalar wave. So with the plasma device, sending with specific frequencies of this organ, but specific frequency again in the cascade of down frequency. And you see there is, after 15 minutes, when you make again the picture, it's recovered.
Yeah.
So this is literally a healing machine, the plasma device, yeah?
Well, in fact, it's sending live, let's say that live frequencies. That's it. So, and entering in resonance with when your body is entering in resonance with live frequencies, it's increasing the life force of the organ in which its life force is missing.
So presumably this is quite new technology then, or is there a history of the use of machines in this way previously?
Yes, Dan explained it. It was, I don't know exactly, but the dates, but well, it's I think it's 50 years ago or something like that, or a little bit more. There was a time in the beginning of 20th century that they tried to work with electricity for healing people, and they get quite good results with what was his name, Lakowski, and also Rive, the other one in France. Well, so they're using electromagnetic waves.
Antoine Prioret.
Prioret, that's it. Yeah, and so they're putting people between big antennas, spiral antennas, and they're sending waves, and they get quite good result. And what's amazing is that the good result that they were getting were with specific frequency. So it was not working with all the frequencies. And what is amazing is that the frequency which they were using was the same as Dan found on his cascade, so on his equation. And so that Dan try to improve these antenna while using with plasma device and sending the good frequencies. That's the reason why he got so marvelous result with this plasma device.
And especially two instead of one, I think, no? It was a combination of the two lights and two interference of frequency.
I think that, well, I don't know priori, but Lakowski was using two antennas, one of each side of the body also.
Also based on the media.
Yeah. But what Dan is doing, is that he noticed also, Dan, that there should be a 180 degrees out of phase from one device to another. And that's what is happening with the therapy. So one of the ball, when you look at the plasma inside the ball is spinning, and one ball is spinning in one way and the other ball is spinning in the other way. And like that you have, well, it is improving the effect.
Can you just briefly explain the word plasma as you're using it? Plasma.
My God, plasma. Well, plasma, as far as I know, is well, it's one of the most common thing in the universe. And when, in fact, what we are doing to create this plasma is to send, this is related to Tesla. In fact, you're taking a ball or a glass device containing noble gases. And when you send a very high voltage, but this voltage that must be driven by a high frequency carrier, this is creating light in, this is igniting the noble gases, and this is plasma. And this plasma is radiating away from the ball containing the gas. So you can, when you approach a neon tube close to this plasma device which is working, the neon tube will also light. So it means that this plasma ball is radiating outside, and this is an electromagnetic wave which is going outside a few meters away from the ball device. And this has some properties. It's creating an electromagnetic wave which is spreading in the room, and so going inside your body, interacting with your body.
Thank you. And what would be the relationship of something like Reiki, which claims to be doing a type of healing also on the body? Would that correlate in any way with what we've been looking at here with the plasma device, do you think?
I don't really know. I don't practice Reiki. I don't, but as far as I know, when you're making Reiki, you are making some kind of connection, and so when you're making this connection, I think that you're creating some kind of scalar wave or longitudinal wave that we talked about previously. In fact, there should probably be, it should be interesting. I would like to do it now. I know a Reiki practitioner. I can ask this person if I can make a recording to see what's happening when she's making the practice. because
That's great.
as far as I understand that, you know, everything, when you are working with, well, let's say energy, it's a very difficult word to use. I think that if it's working, it must be related to what Dan explained with this cascade of golden ratio. And this, what I was using scalar wave because this is a word which is commonly used, but I know that it's not the good word, and probably that what Dan is talking about with this longitudinal wave, it's much better. But I think that that's what I was showing you with the wave, which is going in a different way than the wave which is the original wave. So as far as you create a cascade of golden ratio, you will have this kind of wave with the propagation which is changing, and which can interact with the grid of the earth. And Dan explained also that the best moment is when the sunrise or the sunset, because there are something which is happening on the earth at this moment, which allow a better propagation of this kind of wave. It's a lot of things to say, but it's better than me to explain it.
Can I ask about, are you familiar with how he talks about consciousness related to this idea of centripetal charge?
It's again related to the same thing. When you have this implosion effect, you have access to. It's like lucid dreaming, and that's the reason why people who are working with therapy can access much easily with lucid dreaming, with because it's related to what Dan called implosion. So it is exactly the opposite of what we learn at school, and in our world, everything is related to explosion. But when you're using this kind of spiral, what Valerie explained with the water and the spiral of water, but also you can create it this kind of spiral with waves. And to create this kind of spiral with waves, it means that you have to make a beautiful cascade of golden ratio. And then you have access to consciousness, you have access to a lot of things. But I'm clearly convinced that accessing to this kind of specific state is related to a beautiful coherence inside the body, and the coherence inside the body is related to, again, to golden ratio, and again to the equation of Dan. Maybe you can have some more questions. If I can answer, I will do.
I might have one question for you, Patrick, because of your work as an osteopath and biologist, and also Tomatis with sound. When you talk about plasma, the Seraphi, they are 180 degrees out of phase. And if I understood well, it's what happens also in our brain. Our two brain hemispheres are also 180 degrees phase shift. Do you say so?
Yes, that's what Dan is talking about. Yes, yeah. That's also something that we are looking for when we are analyzing the brain waves.
Yes, but when you do your work as an osteopath, do you sense that? Do you know this kind of pulse? Is it like a pulse alternating one side and the other, and that those interference builds and creates like a for me when I'm between those plasma lamps, I feel a pressure one side, yes, next, and it's like building up on my connection. It's like I'm connecting, you know, grounding and connection with cosmic connection. It's like aligned, all is aligning.
No, I don't. About this 180-degree shift, no, I don't feel it. I cannot explain it, but that's what we are looking for in the brain frequency, but it's not easy to find.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
But in fact, the proof is that it's working with therapy, because these two balls are spinning in 180 degrees shift.
Yes, it's something interesting to study. What would you say about your own work compared to Dan's work, or what's your own your personal interests in this world, in this research?
Well, that's what I explain. I try to. Well, my first research is related to the sacrocranial waves, and this is what we get when you see here on this slide. There are each pulse is a blood pulses of the heart, and this is measuring the pressure, and this is 1 minute of recording, and you see the pressure is changing about 4, 5, 6 times per minute, and this is what and there is a good relationship between the measurement we are doing with the sensor and the feeling that we have with our hand. And I've built a device that is used in the school when I learned sacrocranial therapy, and they're using my device to help the student to be confident with their feelings.
Do they have a graph, or how does it work? They have a screen. They do it on their mobile phone, or?
Well, they're using my first device, which is connected to a PC. But yeah, but now it's of course this is the iPad or the iPhone screen here that I'm showing. Yes. But they're still using the old one.
Is it something they train with the breathing and they can modify themselves?
No, it's not related to, well, for art coherence, you're trained to use your breathing, but you cannot, but in fact, it's not necessarily related to breathing. When you're healthy, this frequency is appearing even if you don't breathe. And in fact, what is very interesting is that normally the rhythm is about 6 times per minute. If you're below 2 cycles per minute, it leads to cancer. And if it's above 10, it's related to immune response of the system, or inflammation, or healing also. When there is probably after a therapy session, this rhythm could increase for a few hours or even a few days, because the body is creating a new equilibrium, and also boosting the recovering machine inside the body.
Thank you so much. Do you have another question, Dada?
Yeah, I mean, I'm on this fractality stuff again, if I may ask. So he talks about fractality as the symmetry of infinite compression. What does that mean to you?
Fractality is the symmetry of infinite compression.
Yeah, or as the symmetry of infinite compression. Yes. So the symmetry, I mean, fractals relate to symmetry. Is that correct? Because we're finding the same shape embedded within the bigger shape. So is that relating to symmetry? And then this infinite compression.
The infinite compression is well, it's what you call it implosion. So this is the it's a cascade of golden ratio frequencies or numbers. Well, let's say because we are talking about frequencies, but when you look at on the shape of nature, it's again the fractalities mean that each time you will go to another step of the scale, you will find the same kind of shape again.
Yeah, it's like Russian.
Maybe you can watch on the video on the web there. If you type fractality and Mendel wrote, you will see beautiful videos, and you will see that when they're zooming again and again, and you will see that the shape will reappear after so it's you see the shape, and then it's zooming inside the shape, and then you have again the same shape, and then zooming inside, and then again. And as far as I understand, each time you find the same shape again, it should be related to a Gondler ratio.
But now what I understand is with this vortex, you see, when you have this spiral, golden mean spiral, and they are embedding in one another, and it's a pressure wave going to the point of the vortex, and here you have the miracle happening, and this is a pressure wave of this embedding, like Russian dolls. You know, there are Russian dolls. You have the large one, and it's inside. You have a smaller one, etc. They're all at the golden mean ratio. At the end, you have this tip of the vortex, and this is all the pressure that creates your the magic.
You see this is the spiral here. You can see it. You can enlarge it again. Yeah. This is the spiral. So the water is coming inside, and this is the shape of the spiral related to the golden number. And when you send the water through this kind of device, that the water which is coming out is completely different from the one which is coming in. And this is this famous compression. So this is, and this well, maybe well, okay. Let's try to explain the difference between compression and implosion. So if you see through this shape, normally you can easily understand that there is a compression because it's coming on a larger part, coming in on a larger part and coming out on a smaller part. So I think that you can clearly understand that there should be a compression inside. Now, if you think about implosion instead of compression, implosion is, of course, it's a compression, but it's not, it is a specific kind of compression, which is related to golden number and related to golden ratio, and related to nature, what's happening in nature. So let's say implosion is some kind of compression, but with specific relationship between what's coming in and coming out. Is it much clear?
Yes.
Well, I would compare it with a diffuse light and laser light. So it's like all the waves are sorted together, and suddenly you have like order. And here the water coming out of this water nozzle, shower nozzle, is silky. It's healing for the skin. It's much softer, and yeah, how to explain that? Why it turns silky? I guess it's like Schauberger's water in the vortex, or the
yes.
It's the less friction. It's more coherent.
There was a video, but I cannot So it's strange because maybe I just go.
And this water is more hydrating, so you need less water to water your plants because it's more compatible, so your body can absorb it much on a higher level. And animals will choose that type of water. They will know to drink, yeah.
So we can also drink this type of water.
It's yes.
Yes. It's very, very
healing potential.
Yeah.
That's
right. If you want, you can also if you take dead water. So when you buy water, it's dead water, and you pass the dead water through this device, and then the water will be with life force again. So it's sending back life force to the body.
And you've been able to measure that to some extent?
Oh, you can feel it. It's very, yes. You can feel it. Yes.
Right. There's an interesting phrase that Dan has used. He talks about golden ratio optimizes the wave mechanics of fractality. So in this case, the golden ratio is expressed in the design of the nozzle, optimizes the wave mechanics of fractality of the water.
Yes, but again, it's the same thing. It's like, I think that Valerie gives a good comparison also with laser light and normal light.
Diffuse light, and
yeah. When
it sorts out the waves.
You create some kind of order, some kind of structure.
Yeah.
And this kind of structure is the structure of life form, which is all life form needs this kind of structure.
And somehow the nature of the universe also has that structure, or is it that it is moving to that structure or to a higher level of expression of that structure, of that order?
Yeah, no, normally so that's how also, well, I didn't talk about it because I forgot to talk about it, but Dan is explaining gravity also with this golden ratio. He said that the gravity is related to the golden ratio which are in nature, and that's how we explain gravity. This is really incredible for some kind of explanation, because nobody knows what is really gravity, and Dan explained it.
To answer your comment, that I would say, I add also that Dan says, because many scientists talk about entropy, and it's like the natural way of going, and he says the opposite. And this is all getting out, it's going, creating negentropy, which means more order. So whether it's more, for him, I think it's a natural way of where to go, and not to go towards entropy, chaos. I think the humans create chaos, maybe, or someone's particular chaos, but I think nature finds a way out of chaos. It would be the more natural way where to go if we were understanding what is life about. Wouldn't you say, Patrick?
Yes.
I remember him talking about gravity being a centripetal electrical force. But then he said golden ratio perfected fractality. So he seems to say gravity is centripetal electrical force, but that it's also perfected fractality.
Yeah, but you know, it's different word to say the same thing, though. But it's not. I understand. It's not easy to understand. And so that probably the reason why Dan is using so many words to try to make it understandable. Mm-hmm. But it's always the same thing, because you can talk about electromagnetism, you can talk about, but because electromagnetism is everywhere, it's one of the components. Gravity is another component, but the gravity is again related to golden ratio, scale, and so you are talking about the same thing, but with different approach and different words.
Can you help us on this word he seems to use a lot, where he talks about phase conjugation? So is it this phase conjugation is the golden ratio perfected fractality?
Yes. It's
directly the same thing, actually. So
this is again the same thing, explained differently. That there is a property from the golden number. It add and multiply. You see, I take 1, multiply by golden number, got 1.6. And then I add 1 to 1.6, I got 2.6. And if I take 1.6 multiplied by golden number, I got also 2.6. So this is, so when different kind of waves are coming together, but in golden ratio frequencies, they're constructing something. So there is a constructive interference. And this constructive interference is creating again what we talk about the longitudinal wave.
And phase conjugation.
Yes. So the phase, so with this kind, because of this property of add and multiply, you see, when the two waves are coming together, if there is a beautiful relationship between these two phases, which is golden ratio, they will create some kind of constructive interference, which will create the longitudinal wave. But these two frequencies must be in exact golden ratio to create this. Is it much clear?
Yes. And fractality, how does fractality relate to that diagram?
Also, yes.
So these circles are also fractals.
Well, when you zoom in it, yes, you will have the same shape as each time you will zoom in or zoom out, you will have the same thing which will appear, yes.
It's a concept of embedding. So you see they all to the proportion, those spheres to the proportion of the golden mean ratio, and they embed one into the other, like Russian dolls. And
yeah,
that's a fractality, because that's where there's a ability to embed into one another.
Yes. Okay. Well, yes. Thank you, Valerie. Yes.
So is it true to say that the universe is fractal in its nature?
Yes, because of golden ratio.
Okay, so somehow it's some origin point of creation, this golden ratio expressed itself so that everything that followed after was somehow the expression of that relationship, that golden ratio, yeah? Can we say like that?
Well, yes, I think so. We can say also that if the universe was not related to golden ratio, it couldn't be possible to exist, because this is the structure of the universe, and also which is created gravity. And gravity is some kind of attraction between different things. So if inside your body, the different part of your body, which could not be related by golden number, golden ratio, your body cannot stay together. Maybe you can say it like that.
There's an interesting concept in yoga philosophy where the first expression of the creation comes from what is called a triangle of forces that relate to the three binding principles known in yoga as gunas. These gunas are named as sattva guna, raja guna, tama guna. And so one is we call it, in English we say a sentient force. The second is a mutative force. The third is a static force. So the tama guna is the static force. And out of the interplay of these three principles or forces, we get the first expression of the creation that is itself coming out of pure consciousness or supreme consciousness. And it's fascinating that there is a type of geometric coherent relationship between these three principles or gunas that leads to the first derivation or metamorphosis of that pure consciousness into form or into a metamorphosed expression. So it's just fascinating to me that we see this triangle of forces, and then we pick up the idea of a golden ratio and of so-called sacred geometry expressing itself through the universe. One day, hopefully, we can figure out the connection between the mystical ideas and the so-called spiritual ideas and the empirical science.
Yeah, but I think that everything is related to some kind of geometry in the spiritual world and in the material world. Yeah, and as you say, there is a relationship between. Yeah, that's great.
And maybe we're coming to a time where this the gap between these two types of knowledge systems really is going to come together. It feels like it's happening, right?
Yes, we are very close, I think.
That's been wonderful, Patrick. You've really helped me at least understand.
I did my best.
That's wonderful, yes.
It's not easy, but even after, I don't remember how many years, but now it's quite a lot of years that I'm working with Dan, but it's not easy all the time to follow him because such a big brain. And yeah, I've done my best. I hope I didn't make any mistake in my explanation, but I hope it will help you a little bit to understand, yeah, with another way of thinking, well, or another way of understanding what he's explaining. Yes.
Was great, and thank you for the animation that you did and the illustration, because that really was very helpful.